We got some interesting things to talk about today. Mel Kiper dropped his mock draft a few days ago. It's 2 rounds, and what we do is we go over the mock drafts, then we re-rank the players for Dynasty Fantasy Football. That way we get a good value on the landing spots. Kind of takes place of like a mock draft with landing spots, but we're just using this mock draft as our base case, and we usually do this a couple times a week with various different mock drafts, but the fact that we got 2 rounds here gives us plenty of players to get a good idea of what we could be potentially seeing, especially when we start ranking these guys with future potential landing spots. I'm going to be looking at this mock draft here from a fantasy football lens. If your team selects a player you don't like, let me know, and let me know what you think or the likelihood of that pick in the comment section below. As you see right here, we got Bryce Young going to the Carolina Panthers. Not a surprise here at all. QB1 for many people. Should be a QB1 in Superflex. QB1, QB2 if you're looking at the rankings. But a top tier option in this year's class. And we're going to move on down here. Houston Texans roll with CJ Stroud here. And obviously, if Young's coming off the board, Stroud's going to be coming next. And it's going to flip or flop whoever they take. Looks like maybe Young be the first guy off the board. Stroud to the Texans. I feel like this is an alright location for him. Expect some time to develop, like I've been saying. Texans are retooling, rebuilding, whatever you want to call that. So they're going to get some pieces in order. New coaching staff, new everything. So let things take time. But Stroud could be a great fit here over the long haul over here. Next, at 3, Tennessee Titans trade up, I think, with the Cardinals, right? And they select Anthony Richardson. And I think we've had this in a mock draft before. I felt like I've talked about this before, or he fell to the Titans. So there must be some rumors or something going on with him going to the Titans or something. There must be something leaking about that. But Anthony Richardson to the Titans. You got Treylon Burks there. You got the run game to lean on there. It's just the thing about Anthony Richardson, I like that he's the top 3 pick. That really solidifies or puts his value in concrete. The upside's grand, especially from a fantasy football perspective, but he's a big developmental prospect. Not going to not say that, and he is a huge developmental prospect. You're going to have to wait a while on him. They have Tannehill there, so that's going to be a good bridge for him. Tannehill got injured last year, so maybe during that time, if that happens again, or if they need that insurance, they got Anthony Richardson while he's developing. While Anthony Richardson's developing, when contract talks happen with Tannehill, they got a guy there, and while he's developing, maybe, or he should be ready to take over. But from a fantasy football perspective, this is shooting for upside. The upside's so grand. It's like the top player overall in fantasy upside due to the size adjusted speed. If it hits huge. If it doesn't hit, it's catastrophic. But you know what? Those gambles you got to take sometimes. With the Colts, Will Levis, I feel like this is a perfect landing spot for him. This is where I would want him to go. Jonathan Taylor here, you're playing indoors. He's got a strong arm. I really think this is a good landing spot for Will Levis. Moving down here. Boom. Defense. O-line. More defense. Jackson Smith-Njigba to the Texans. So he's getting Stroud with him. This is probably the perfect quarterback wide receiver combo because we've seen this with the Texans with their first 2 first-round picks in a lot of mock drafts. And it's just been a jumbled piece of quarterback and wide receiver. Now we get Stroud and Njigba, both from Ohio State. They have some continuity. That's kind of the staple we've been seeing with quarterbacks lately. So Jackson Smith-Njigba with Stroud, I like that. One thing about the Texans is I don't really see them going quarterback wide receiver, but they might. They have other needs and other things to do with this pick. And Texans fans has mentioned this in the comments in some of these videos. But Jackson Smith-Njigba at 12 here with Stroud, at least that's something better to chew on than some of the other quarterback wide receiver combinations we've seen. I want to say that much. Dalton Kincaid from Utah going to the Green Bay Packers. Interesting landing spot here. And what I think about this is Aaron Rodgers isn't going to be there forever. It may not even be there for the next week for all we know. And this isn't the Packers that we're used to. But I feel like in Dynasty is going to get a value spike due to that. just because we always see that with the Packers. But however, I like Kincaid as a talent, and I will buy him on the dip. And these tight ends, they usually take a couple years to develop, and that's when you buy them. And if he does hit, you're probably going to still catch him at a similar price tag, if not a little bit more. At least you know what you're going to get, and at least you don't have to sit with that sunk cost or that time to wait for him to develop. You already know what you're getting. But Dalton Kincaid, I do like him as a talent. Going down here, we got DB and Zay Flowers to the Steelers. This is an interesting landing spot considering they got Deontay Johnson, they got Pickens there. Interesting landing spot. Can get downfield, cerebral route runner. The thing about this, if I was Steelers, I'd be going Jordan Addison here and just get the quarterback wide receiver combo with Kenny Pickett. I think he thought about this in his mock draft, but he likes Zay Flowers more. That's what he's telling me. He likes Zay Flowers more than Jordan Addison. I think Jordan Addison's a great wide receiver prospect. I think Zay Flowers is good too. I just think if you're going to have a quarterback there and he's got continuity with somebody, you may want to tap into that realistic level. But again, if it's a better wide receiver and you think that's better, then the same thing. I think Zay Flowers can be a good fit here. Fantasy-wise, considering the narrative of Mouse defeat, narrative with Kenny Pickett, you might be able to catch Zay Flowers still at a discount, even though he's being drafted 17th overall. 18th overall, Bijan Robinson to the Lions. Detroit Lions fans, let me know what you think about that, because we've had him mocked there before. Found him mocked there a few times. And some of you guys pipe up in the comment section and say, no, we don't like this. You got Dan Montgomery there. You got DeAndre Swift there. Swift's only there for one more year. Dan Montgomery's not going to be there for the long haul. Remember, it's older running back. And plus, Bijan Robinson's Bijan Robinson. And you know what? No teams are in a position really to go after a running back in the first round. But somebody's going to do it. You can make a case that every team in this league should avoid Bijan Robinson and draft something else. But you can also make the case that a lot of these teams can also bite the bullet and draft Bijan Robinson. Move down here. Jordan Addison to the Chargers. I think this is a great landing spot for him. I think his dynasty value is going to be pretty high. I think this is awesome. I think he's going to get fueled by Herbert and company. Good volume there. Really not much to speak on. DB, D-line. More DB. Michael Merritt to the Cowboys. The more you think about this, this is more of the optimal landing spot. It's not like the incumbent tight ends there are really going to beat him out. He should be getting snaps early, should be getting targets early. They like to feature a tight end. You're looking at a tight end one early in his career. You're looking at a safe prospect. It's just depending on what the running backs are looking like on the board, and there's going to be some running backs there because we got a lot of running backs in this year's class that are very talented. You're not going to be able to buy as much dip on him, but I feel like the price is going to jump the shark too, so you have to make a decision whether you're buying in or not. I'm going to be very conservative. I'd rather pay up, and if he's hitting, then I'll just pay up and pay a little bit more. But the odds of him getting Travis Kelce numbers may not be there as well. He might be just getting you solid tight end one numbers, which isn't really something you want to kill yourself for or overpay for, and you may want to just diversify to the running back either way, but this is waters you want to tread lightly on. Moving on down here to our next pick, and here we go. We got a little trade here. Seattle comes up here, drafts Hendon Hooker. A lot of talk about him going in the first round, and if it wasn't for the injury, this time when he was healthy, a lot of people were talking about him being a first-round selection. He was in talks for the Heisman Trophy. He was doing some good things. A lot of talks about him being a gimmicky offense, a read-and-go offense. A lot of talks about him being 25 years old, coming off from an ACL injury, all that stuff. But you're also going to get that baked into his price tag. Could be a cheap get for what you're getting. Seattle's got DK Metcalf. They got some pieces there. You got Kenneth Walker. Great landing spot, actually, if he develops and gets that job. Moving on to the second round here. Let's see what we got here. Quentin Johnson to the Arizona Cardinals. If they trade away DeAndre Hopkins, this could be huge for them. They got some pieces there. Kyler Murray will eventually come back healthy. He's a guy that you'll be able to buy the dip on. No matter where he goes, you'll probably be able to buy a dip on. You can catch him cheap. You'll also be able to catch him cheaper in your rookie drafts in the latter part of the first round. Quentin Johnson's the guy that you're buying at cost. A lot of people don't like him. A lot of people love him. That's the thing. You either love him or you hate him. Let me know in the comments what you think about him. Moving down here, Jahmyr Gibbs to the Eagles. People are going to love this landing spot. This makes him a top-tier prospect. I feel like he's going to fit in well with this team. This team keeps the chain moving. They're going to be able to use him in the passing game. And he's going to be a top-tier first-round asset, especially at the running back spot where he's at. Moving here, Darnell Washington to the Saints. Highly athletic tight end prospect. And we got Derek Carr there. Interesting spot. Watching him transition. Another player, another tight end that you'll be able to draft later in the second round. And you might be able to trade for him later on the cheap, maybe like second year, 6 months, 8 months into his career, since tight ends usually take longer to develop. Luke Musgrave going to the New York Jets. Interesting landing spot here. They got some guys here. They draft Jeremy Ruckert. They're trying to build tight end spots. In this situation, you really hope something changes with the quarterback position. Might be getting Aaron Rodgers, but he's got some athleticism, can get downfield. Good pass-catching tight end. A lot of mouths to feed there on this team, so really want to watch where he goes. But another guy you can catch cheap for his talent. So that's something you want to gnaw on. Moving down here. Let's go. Let's go. We're not getting any picks lately. Not getting any picks. It's going dry. It's going dry. Did I pass on somebody? I haven't seen anybody. Brenton Strange to the Chargers. He's going to need to go to a situation like this for him to be fantasy relevant, for him to get that opportunity. I don't have him as a top-tier option. There are better tight ends available, but Brenton Strange, due to him going here, you might see him over time be a fantasy football contributor, so a guy you want to watch out for, but you don't want to overpay for. Detroit Lions has a head-scratcher here with Jalen Hyatt, but it's also a value considering what his value has been like over the offseason. You have Jameson Williams there, and that's been a very conundrum here. Unless you're just trying to get speed, this might not be the best for fantasy. Might be great for like maybe best ball or maybe DFS from a week-to-week basis. But for Dynasty, very sus, hard to value. But you're also going to catch him at a value in rookie drafts as well. So good draft capital, decent, right there around that threshold. But still, the targets really isn't going to be there, especially in this draft, in this alternate reality where they drafted Bijan Robinson. Moving down. Jonathan Mingo to Dallas Cowboys. I think this is a very good fit for him, and this is a very good fit for Dynasty fantasy football aficionados who want to draft these running backs, but also want Jonathan Mingo because during the start of his career, it's probably going to start a little bit slow because the target distribution, but as he develops into this offense, as he gets worked in, you'll be able to catch him at a cheaper price point later. You can draft running backs now, maybe get you a Mingo later, and maybe you're good to go. Maybe year 2, year 3, maybe in 6 months from now, maybe you catch him on some discounts. I think this is a good spot for him. Very quiet, low-key. I like Mingo. I think this is a good spot. Josh Downs to the Bills. Great spot for his skill sets. As I said here, Gabe Davis wasn't really getting it done as the wide receiver 2. Downs is a slot receiver plus. Mainly going to be using the slot, but can get downfield a little bit. Can be on the outside a little bit. Very nuanced. Tremendous ball skills for his size as well. Plays bigger than his size. I think this is a good spot for his fantasy value. Next, Zach Charbonnet to the Bengals. Fantasy value is going up really high with this. I think Zach Charbonnet is going to see tremendous increase in value with this pick, and you're going to want this. What does this say about Mixon? I don't know. This is just a mock draft. This ain't real. But if Charbonnet goes to the Bengals, or the Bengals draft any running back in the second round, people are going to want that back, and he's going to be valuable. Moving down, last pick, Marvin Mims to the Chiefs. Big fan of him. I love his upside. I love his 4.3 speed. I love his ball skills. I love his production profile. I love his breakout age. I love all that stuff. I think that's all just a great fit for the Chiefs. They're pulling strings at the wide receiver position. They're trying to get something to hit. Eventually something is. We got a power 5 wide receiver who's got some production here and has some speed, some athleticism. Last year they got Sky Moore. He was a G5 wide receiver. Now they're stepping up to the power 5. A guy with some speed that can really get it done. Different player here, so don't be going apples to apples here with this. So let's go ahead and rank these players, and let's start things off here with the S tier. So we're going to start off with Bijan Robinson in S tier because he's Bijan Robinson, the top player overall, RB1 right now in Dynasty. You can make a case for the quarterbacks in Superflex. We are ranking for Superflex, but we're just going to throw them up here. S and A, you can merge together a little bit if you want, if that's going to help you out. But we're just going to throw him up there. There's not really much more to say. We've been waiting for him to catch the ball in the backfield. He's got the athleticism. He's got the tape. He forces the missed tackles. He's got that college resume. Going to Tier A, and it's pretty huge. Bryce Young, the QB1, QB2 in Dynasty value right now in rookie drafts. Everybody's going to want him. He's got the draft capital. We've been watching him over the course of his career. Fast mental processor. He's earning this. He's earning this. Same thing with Stroud. He's got the arm, accuracy downfield. It's been there in big moments, especially in that last game of his career at Ohio State. Going to the Texans, and he's going to be throwing the ball to Jackson Smith, the Jigba, JSN. I think those two are good linked up together, and I feel like for a quarterback wide receiver combo, that's the perfect one for the mock draft. And then we're not going to miss out on your boy Anthony Richardson. Upside for days. Upside for days. Top 3 pick. You're not skipping out if he's going top 5. You're not skipping out. You're not going to miss out on that upside. You're going to have to take that gamble. Jahmyr Gibbs going to the Eagles. Second running back off the board. It's going to hold a lot of value. Zach Charbonnet is not too far off going to another grand situation. He's going to hold that for a bit. And then Will Levis going top 5 to the Colts, though. I got the Raiders there, but he's going to the Colts in this mock draft. Don't know what I did there. He's going to the Colts. Got Jonathan Taylor and company. Going to the Colts, I think that's a great situation. Going top 4. Jordan Addison in the B section to the Chargers. One wide receiver. One he fell a little bit later in the draft, but I feel like he can still be very, 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 very productive there. I think this is a great situation. And then we got Josh Downs to the Bills. Josh Downs to the Bills. I think he can be very productive there. I think he can get a lot of spike to his value in this situation. Hendon Hooker, quarterback value in Superflex. First round prospect. You're going to have to wait on him a little bit. He's an older prospect, but you're going to catch him on the cheap. We're looking at like back end first round now and see. Back end somewhere out there, early second roundish value. And let's start doing the tight ends here at E. So Dalton Kincaid, Brenton Strange. I got Washington here, but not pictured. And then Luke Musgrave. And honestly, I'm just looking to catch these guys at value in rookie drafts. I'm not paying up for them just because of the position. Because if they hit, they're really not giving me enough points for me to really go off on. So I'm really just catching the value. However, Michael Mayer here, I'm just going to throw up on D. I'm going to value him a little bit more, but it may not be valued as much as some of the other people are going to value him because I'm going to be watching where these running backs go, and I'm going to really tap into this running back class. That being said, Marvin Mims, love that he's going to the Chiefs, but he almost fell to the 3rd round. So that draft capital is a little bit scary there, but I'm also not going to ignore him. I'm definitely going to be pulling the trigger in the 2nd round, but he might sneak up in the 1st round. That's one thing. Quentin Johnston, let's pull him up there. Early 2nd round pick. Great prospect profile, especially to the athleticism standpoint. Going to have to wait on him a little bit. Kyler Murray's coming back from injury. This could be a late bloomer, but you'll be able to catch him on the cheap if you like him later. So you may want to draft another player instead and just trade for him later. That's how that works. Zay Flowers getting the draft capital. Let's move him up here. And we just got this as the wide receiver section plus Hendon Hooker. Really. Zay Flowers, Jordan Addison up there, Josh Downs. And then Jalen Hyatt, right. Not there, but here in Tier C, next to Marvin Mims. I actually do not like Hyatt near as much as Mims in this situation. Kick him down to Mayer. I like Mayer a little bit more. But I think Mingo would be a great buy later. You can go ahead and draft your running backs and get Mingo later. Or draft him if you want to, depending on ADP and the price tag. But I like Mingo. That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying have a strategy for the draft. Look for guys that you can buy later with your picks as well. But I feel like watching him play and seeing the target distribution in Dallas in this situation, that it might start a little bit slow. You might be able to catch him at a discount when it comes to the NFL season, especially when teams are in flux and they're trying to make the playoffs. You might be able to attack that way. This is where I got the rankings hat. We got a quick one right here, and really like it. Tight ends are always going to be at the bottom for me because I always chase the value. Always go later, especially with a running back class like this. I really want to really hammer in the running back class, and some of these tight ends are just going to fall for me. And these tight ends, these are just going to fall, and the running backs are going to be up there. I think the wide receivers are good in B. And A, kind of a little bit clustered, but you got to understand super flex value. You got to understand the running backs there. And Bengals, Eagles, great spots for those running backs. Let me know in the comments below who you're looking for, the draft in your rookie drafts. I want to hear about that. Make sure you smash that subscribe button on the way out. I want to thank you for watching. Catch you on the next video.